Hi there guys, this is Pete from The Great Games, and today we're going to be having a look through Enchanters by Mythic Games. Now this is a 2 to 4 player deck building game, each game lasting around 30 to 60 minutes, and the aim of the game is to be the one with the most glory points. And you get glory points by buying and upgrading your items and enchantments, and you use those items and enchantments as you go through the game to defeat monsters and dragons. It's simple as that. So let's get the box open and let's have a look. Let's set it all up and we'll just go through a few quick rounds. So this is everything out of the box and laid on the table. We're just walking through what actually comes in the box here. We've got 22 villages, which you can choose from in the game. We have 4 help cards, which are double-sided, which give you the icon rundown on one side and just the general help card of how to take movements in the turn on the other side. We have 4 attack and defense tokens, for obviously up to 4 players. We've got 33 wound markers. We've got 40 crystal markers. We've got the 6 of the journey cost markers. We've got 4 attack and defense pointers, which are these bits which mark up your attack and defense. And we've got obviously the rule book and the quick setup guide leaflet. We've also got 4 sets of these Fist of Enchantings. Swap those around so that makes sense, which is where you would place all of your items and everything as you buy it through. And then these bits here in the middle are your kingdom decks. Now we have the bandits, which are these ones. We've got the barbarians over here. We've got the cultists over here. We've got the dracons there. We've got the gnolls, which are the wolf ones. We've got the goblins, which look like goblins. We've got the undead, and we've got the unicorns. So these are the decks of cards that you would then build your deck with to start with, which I will walk you through next. So we'll get a game set up and see what it looks like. I've taken all of the box, I've set it up. Now I'm just going to run through what everything is very quickly. You've got your gem tokens up here. You've got 1s, 3s and 10s. And you've got your wound tokens, your 1s and 5s. Here is going to be your journey track, like the central row where you buy everything from, which we will sort that out in a minute. Over here, you've got your town, which is the town you're defending, which what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run through exactly what that is. I'll have to slide this across a minute. So you've got the name in the middle there, normal town, which is where we will be doing this demonstration. On the bottom left there, you'll see it says multi-action, which is pay 2 gems to increase your attack by 1. That's called a multi-action because you could do that over and over again. So you could pay 4 gems to increase your attack by 2, and you can keep going depending on how much you spend. Now in the middle there is your rest action. That's what that the black circle with a white cross for the middle means. And every time you decide to take a rest on your turn, you can either take 3 gems or you can heal 1 wound, which is good because wounds are bad. You do not want wounds in this game. And over there on the bottom right, you see for this town, for every pair of enchantments and items you have, that at the end of the game, you will score 1 extra victory point for each pair. So that is the town pretty much. Now, let's say there's like 22 different towns, whatever it was. They all have different effects and for different things you can do on the town. So always read the town and see what you're going to be up against there. We will set our attacks up to off attack and defense, which is your track card here, which will you'll see that happen as we go. So I won't explain that too much now and bore you. What I've done, as I've set up a 2-player game, I've mixed the unicorns and the bandits. So I've taken the unicorn deck and the bandit deck, but because it's 2-player, they say down here some cards have got number 2. Let's show you the other one on the bottom right. Obviously down here there's not number 2, down here is number 2. Now it says for 2-player game, take all the cards out the deck with number 2 on it and obviously shuffle them together. Now as is a 2-player game, I've taken just 2 decks, as in the unicorns and the bandits. If there was 3-player, you would take 3 decks. Then obviously you wouldn't take the number 2 out there. So you mix all of the 3 decks together. And yes, so that would build your pile there, which is what we'll be drawing out. And when this deck runs out, that is the end of the game. That is when you total up your scores. So that is the win condition of the game, is to get through every single card of this deck. Now the first thing it says to do before you start laying the cards out is go from the bottom and you pull off 6 enchantments or item cards. So enchantments, the one with the little eyes on the right hand side, and the item cards are the ones with the little anvil on the left hand side, but I will bring them up close so we can see them in a minute. These are creature cards, so they stay on the bottom. There's a lot of creature cards on the bottom here, which is good. It means you won't be seeing them till later. There we go. We've got 1 enchantment card, 2 enchantment card, another creature, 3 enchantment card, another creature, a dragon, 4 for an item, 5 for an enchantment, and 6 for an enchantment. So any monsters and dragons you find, you put back on the bottom of the deck. So it gives you a fighting chance that when the cards come out, you can start building up your resources from word go. So what we'll do, we'll start by drawing out our journey track. So you take the cards off the top of the deck, which we know are all going to be enchantments and items, and you place them above the 6 purple tokens which are laid out here. And these indicate the cost of that card. Now these cards will change location as we go through, which you'll see happen very shortly. But the one here with no gem on it, that is a free card. So you can always take that free of charge each turn. But say you start with 5 gems as your starting amount, so that gives you a good stead to get started. So to start with, will be player 1 over here on the left and player 2 on the right. So I'll just go through a few turns just so you can see how the cards are placed and how you go ahead and buy something. So to start with my very first turn, player 1 will use his action to buy an aura. Obviously the eyes match, to go onto his aura pile. And what I will do very quickly, sorry, I didn't do this earlier, I will just bring the card up over here so you can see there on the right hand side, that eye, that is the aura symbol which matches up of your enchanting card. And then at the top left for this one, this gives you a +1 attack, and at the bottom left gives you a +1 attack as well. And that line just above that +1, basically that's where you play the next card above that. So that whatever underneath that line will stay in play all the time. The ones above that, in any writing, so where it says after defeating a monster I heal 1, as soon as I place another card on top of that, I lose that ability. And I will quickly show you, where's an item? Here is an item. We will just swap that out. An item there on the left hand side, you've got the anvil sign, and you've then got an ability which is pay 1 gem to get +3 attack, which is quite strong, and it gives you a permanent attack as well. So I will just place that back in the center row, but I've just bought for free an enchantment of leeches. So once that is that player 1's action done, you then adjust the track so he gets +2 attack, and then all of the cards slide down a space. So the most expensive is now just got 1 cheaper, and then that will pass over then to player 2. So we're not seeing any monsters as yet, which is good. So player 2, I think, because monsters are going to be coming out soon, is going to spend 1 gem to buy the scimitar, which is in section 1. So that will go onto his fist section. So it's now the scimitar of enchanting. And it does have little sentences on each card. So this one here says, it is not easy to find the scabbard for a sword that will become an artifact of ultimate power. So every time it's just a bit of flavor text really that matches them together. So I've now got 1 +1 attack for that, and then all the cards will slide down like so. Now I won't take a rest yet because I don't need to. We'll cover that in a minute. We'll just get a bit of this built up now so we can see how this all goes together. Now player 1 is once again going to do another free action, and he is going to buy of wolf, or of the wolf, which I'll show you now, goes above, just above that line. So I lose the ability now of, after defeating a monster, I can heal 1, and I lose that +1 attack because that's covered. But this of the wolf gets a +1 anyway. So he's now got 1, 2, 3, 4 attack, but no shield as yet. So as soon as monsters come out, I will show you how the attacking works and how the shield will work, but we're still getting just a lot of items here. So player 2 will do the same. I'm going to start trying to build up my attack if I can, or my shield. I will spend 2 here to go for of alchemy, which is an enchantment, and that gives me another +2, so I'm up to 3 on attack now. Still no defense, so these will all move down. Now we will have to take a rest soon on player 2 because he's running out of money unless he takes the free ones. So then back over to player 1. So this is how fast the game would go round when you're all playing together. It is quite a fast playing game. You're not sat around with much sort of downtime for thinking, which is nice. I would go here for... Oh, I could get some sensible again. I'm not spending any money. He's getting, player 1 is getting all the good stuff. Another freebie. So I lose... Oh, sorry, I forgot to do that. When I took this of the wolf, I will quickly put that up on the camera there, because that says the down facing arrow, that is an immediate action. So when you take a card, you immediately take the effect. So because I bought him, I should have taken 6 damage, which I didn't do. So I will do that now. So he would take 5 or 6 wound. But now obviously I'm covering that up, which don't make any difference anyway. But now I get a shield. So taking that 6, if I'd had that 1 shield, I would have only taken 5 on that, because the shield will always block damage. Now this one here is of thieves, is after using a rest, I steal 1 gem from another player. And the little 1 circle down the bottom there, let's bring this up on the close-up camera so you can see there, and obviously you can read that. Down the bottom there, that number 1, that's a glory point. So at the end of the game, that will stay in effect, and that will get me a glory point no matter what, because that's underneath that bottom line. And so he's given me 1 shield, also another attack. Well, he's covered up the attack, so I'm still only on 4 attack. And that is the end of his turn. So I've got 6 wounds, which is not good. I will have to heal at some point. And we're getting no monsters out yet, which is... Obviously, they've all gone down the bottom of the deck here. Now, player 2 has only got 2 gems, so I can only buy either of gold, the harp, or of healing. So I think I will spend my 2 this turn, so I'm going to be broke, but I'm going to get that of gold. And that is going to go as an enchantment. And then at the end of the game, once again, let's put that on the close-up so you can see that. Down the bottom there, at the end of the game, for every 5 gems I've got, I will receive 1 victory point. So obviously if I've got 10 gems at the end, I get an extra 2 glory points, sorry, they call them in this game, not victory points. So he will go there above the line. So that keeps my attack the same, but it does give me 1 shield now. And these will start coming down. I'm desperate to see a monster, but none are coming out yet. But this game, as I say, doesn't take too long, so I can fly through this nice and quickly. I've still got 5, and I'm going, because I've got nothing going on over here. I'm going to spend 2 and take my cloak, which goes into my item stack. And after taking an enchantment, I take 4 gems, which is good. So if I buy an enchantment next, I'll get 4 gems, as long as I don't cover him up. So that's his turn. Now, player 2 has to rest. He's got no money, unless he takes the free card, which is the of healing, and I can use rest and pay 1 gem to heal extra 2, which would be good, but he's got no damage on him, so he really doesn't need that, and it will cover up an extra attack from him. So, as we said, I'm going to use my town effect to use a rest, which means I don't do anything, but I take 3 gems. Now when that happens for the central row, because nothing's been bought, you remove the free card and everything slides down. And then we reveal, and we're starting to reveal monsters now. I didn't notice the dragon come out last time, so we're getting some monsters out now, which I can almost attack. But I might wait for them to come a little bit cheaper and just build up and just make sure a minute. No, I won't, because I'm going to use my multi-action on player 1 to pay 2 gems to get me 1 extra attack, which gets him up to 5. Which means, oh no, because I can't do that because I need 4 to fight him. So that was silly. I will take that back straight away because, yeah, I don't have enough to do that. So I'm going to have to, I could have got that, but then I'm going to lose my extra ones to get gems. There's no enchantments here to take to use my cloak ability, which is what I'm looking for, and there isn't anything. So what I might even do is rest to get my 3 gems, which gets rid of the harp and brings everything down a little bit cheaper. And then, oh, we go, we're getting all the monsters out now. Desperate times. So player 2 has got 3 up there. He's got 3 attack, so I could take on the, no, I can't take on the unicorn because I can't afford him because he takes 4 gems. He hasn't got enough to pay for the 3 and attack that, so I'm gonna have to go for the freebie card. Or I could have done pay, no, because I could have paid 1 gem to get an extra 3 attack, put me up to 6, but then I haven't got enough to fight anyone, so I'm taking the freebie card, which covers that over. So I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attack now for that, and then all the cards slide down. Still not much defense going on here, which is a worry. So there's going to be a lot of wounds happening very shortly. Now, my multi-action, that doesn't stay. That only stays for that 1 round, I do believe, on that to pay for that. So I've still only got 3 attack. The dragon takes 5, so I could spend, but he does get me an all players, so that will mess up numbers. Yes, if I were to spend 2 to take the dragon, so that's bought him. I could then I could then spend my remaining 4 to put him up to 5, which is enough to kill the dragon. So he is dead. But I will also take 8 wounds. But I've got 1 defense. Oh, I've got 2 defense, sorry. 2 defense, forgot to put that up. So that will actually take 6, another 6 damage. So player 1 is not looking great. But then this one here will stay in his monster section. So all of these will end up. But when I've defeated him, I lose all of my gems, which I did anyway. And I take 3. And hang on, let's put that up there just so you can read that card there. Yeah, so I lose all my gems, but I take 3 gems, and other players lose 3 gems as well. So that's good for him. So he's just lost. Player 2 has just lost his remaining 3 gems, which has really messed with him. And then that will then continue to slide down. We've got a few bandits coming out now. So yeah, that is pretty much all of the game, I believe, covered there, with the attack, the defense, the fighting, the resting, everything. Obviously different villages will do different abilities. I'm not going to go through the whole game here because it's just me playing on my own. I will try and get John round at some point, or Matt, and we'll go through a 2 or even 3 player game if everyone come around at the same time, and we'll do a complete game and you can see how it goes through. But for that, yeah, for the time being, I will leave it like that. So that's pretty much covered everything. But at the end of the game, sorry, we just talked about that, is when all of this deck has been emptied. So there's still a few cards, a few rounds left. Then at the end of the game, you add up all of your victory points from the bottom. And obviously anyone's over in your dragon or monster graveyard. And you work it out, and then at the end, you then deduct your wounds that is left in your pile. And then that is your final score. And obviously you get the +1 for each pair. So that would be 1 pair, and that's it. So I'd only get +1 for that. Whereas over here, he's got 1 and 2, so he'd get an extra 2 points for that. So there's lots of little things to be keeping an eye on during the game as to where you can get these glory points. But mainly is you get a lot of glory points for fighting the big dragons, are the best ones to fight. They do a lot of damage, but you do get a lot of victory points. So if you can heal or get your shield up, you're all good. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that and understood it as best I could explain. If I've got anything wrong, anything like that, please put in the comments. You know, we're all here to learn, but that is, as far as I'm concerned, that's how we play the game. So go and check it out. It's on Mythic Games. This is made by Enchanters. And at the moment, speaking as of in May 2023, they've got a 40% off sale on this game, as well as some of their other games on the website. Go and check it out. But yeah, it's definitely worth it with the 40% off. It's a great game that you get. There's lots of expansions out there for it. There's lots of things to boost this game and make it a lot more interesting as it goes. This is just like the starter one. But yeah, please go check it out. And thanks again for watching, and we will see you all soon. Thank you.